Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and this is going to be my Dragonflight Demonology Warlock, I guess initial just talent deep dive and combat video. With the actual Warlock talent trees being released and then putting my 3 videos out talking about them, I wanted to look at some builds today because Demo, Destro, and AF all have different builds that can be played in different settings, but Demonology has like 5 different builds or like 6 different builds, and honestly, I really don't know which one's best. Now, we are level 62 in this video. I'm on alpha doing things. You will have 4 more points in your general class tree and 4 more in the actual spec tree. I harp on it a million times in the video. Keep it in mind, until we get 70 characters in a week or 2, I'd assume, I can't test them all, but I want to get the combat out to you guys, the builds, and just talk about it all. So yeah, with that being said, if you guys want to hang out and watch testing on stream or just anything in general, link to my Twitch down below where you can come by and swing by and do that. And I also want to give one huge shout out to my patrons before we get into the video. Thank you guys a million times for legit all support on Patreon. I really appreciate it, guys. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, there should be a link up here as well as down in the video description below. And with that being said, yeah, let's jump into Demonology. Destro and AF will be coming as well. Destro's not really buggy. Demo's not really bugged much at all. I found a few during this video. AF is a bit buggy and a bit hard to maintain, or I guess to manage, but I mean, that might actually be a good reason to make a video on AF. So we'll see. With that being said, let's get into the video. So very briefly, I want to talk about the general tree because it's going to be pretty much the same for every build of Demonology, but there are some nodes that are important for Demonology. Now, off the bat, both the actual general class tree and the demo tree here will have 4 more points available at level 70. We're level 62 on alpha right now. I can't level past that, so we cannot have a full talent build. Keep that in mind for every single build moving forward. So a few things to hit on here. Number 1, demonic fortitude. You and your pets have more health. More health means decon does more damage. Same with demonic embrace, and you also have demonic inspiration here, and you have wrathful minion. Now I have synergy selected here, 2 points in soul conduit. We have both inquisitor's gaze and summon jailer. Now there are some big questions surrounding these abilities, what they do, if this is like a worthwhile damage based pet, but the big thing for both these is, do they actually have health that contributes to demonic consumption? Because very early on already in Dragonflight, we are seeing the spec, once again, unsurprisingly, being shaped by demonic consumption, barring it being nerfed or removed. Does it have health? Does it have health? More health? More health? It's a decon world once again, unfortunately. So these are, well, if you like decon, great. If not, hey, whatever. We'll see where tuning goes, obviously, because tuning this early is not really something that you should be looking at. More just like damage profiles and toolkits. But either way, big questions around Inquisitor's Gaze and Summon Jailer and how they work with Demonology. Now you have 4 points left in this tree. You can throw in anywhere if you want. Gateway, Banish, you can go into one of your packs here, most likely for more damage. You can grab Dimensional Rift if you want. A handful of options. So with the general trees being out of the way and having some relevant Demonology nodes just in general here, let's jump into the 4 or 5 Demonology builds that I want to talk about today. Okay, so the first build here is going to be the Demonology AOE build. This is probably the most similar to what you've seen currently on retail with Implosion, dog sets from your 2-piece from the current raid, and all of that. So we're starting off here with Call Dreadstalkers, Demonbolt, Fel Commando, Dreadlash, Demonic Strength, and Soul Strike. And these initial talents up here, like Dreadstalkers, Demonbolt, Fel Commando, FTS, and a mix of like Born of Blood and things, Carnivorous, are going to be your bread and butter. Fel and Steel, basically every build you want to play is probably going to be playing these. So we opted to go Soul Strike here. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. The big thing is that we have to go down the far left side, even though most of like the pet-based abilities and things are in the right side. We have to go over here because of Implosion. So we have to go through Shadow's Bite. Shadow's Bite feels very out of place in this spot. It is a pure single target conduit talent that used to be an Azerite ability that was removed from the game, and it was pretty subpar when it was around in the first place. Now it does sort of feed into the Demonbolt build, which is over here with Bale Spiders and Sack Souls and things like that, but I would love to see this actually move to a different spot in the tree, maybe like even right here, like swap Born of Blood, Shadow's Bite. It's not a huge talent point commitment to grab Born of Blood if it's here, but you're not going like, oh, pure single target ability into our mass AoE ability. That'd be a good swap, I think. A couple other options here and there, but it feels a bit awkward in this spot. Either way, we're going through here to grab Implosion, and then we grab Bloodbound Imps. Now, this might not be worth it. It very well might not be worth it, based on Demonology's AoE and things. I'm probably not going to add a point into it later on, but I want to play with it with this build and see how the actual procs and things feel. Because it's 5 or 10%, basically, per imp. You have multiple imps out when you implode, right? So from there, we grab Born of Blood. Carnivorous Stalkers, obviously, the big dog build is here. Dreadlash, Carnivorous, FTS is over here. Grim Inquisitor is here as well. So you have that big dog chomp build from retail right now. Your third dog is right here. This is literally what the two-piece is called now in retail. And we have Imp Gang Boss. Passive, summoning a wild imp has a 10% chance to summon an Imp Gang Boss. Instead, when imploded, an Imp Gang Boss will summon a wild imp. Now, the Imp Gang Boss does 20% more damage than the regular imp you can summon. It's a random chance. It also does indeed come from inner demons, even though we're not talented into that right now. You can spawn them from there, and they do indeed spawn wild imps after that. Outside of that, we have Fel and Steel, baseline 20% Fellstorm and Dreadbite damage increase. Felmite here, reducing the cooldown of Fellstorm by 10 seconds, and realistically, Felsunder seems a good option, but it's mostly a single target increase. It increases the damage the target takes from you and your pets by 2% for 8 seconds. Now, while that might seem, oh yeah, it's pretty solid, in mass AoE, it's not going to be a big difference if you're prioing an add down regardless, and you can spend points in better parts of the tree, I feel personally. So we're going into here, coming out of Demonic Meteor, 1 point in the Meteor, into, instant cast third dog, or I guess third dog. Grabbing into Torrent Armaments, which says your Felguard deals 20% more damage, which is already massive, because your Felguard does a lot of damage, even more than it used to, or it does currently, in retail. And Soul Strike, which is why we took this here, now also deals 25% of its damage to nearby enemies. Now, Soul Strike is good in general for shard gen and things, and the fact that you have Soul Conduit, Soul Strike, Demonic Meteor, and Born of Blood means Demo's going to have a lot of shards, a lot of procs. It's going to feel really good, but having the AoE clause in this also helps out a decent bit. So after that, we jump into Demonic Tyrant here. 2 points in Command Aura. While your Felguard's active, your Wild Imps and Dreadstalkers have increased haste and damage, which is good. I'm not sure if it applies to Implosion. We can check it at some point. It probably should, but I haven't checked it yet. And Dreadstalkers have more haste, means more chomps, more Dread Bites, more AoE damage. So very synergistic with this build. And the final point here being, hold this for me. The Felguard hurls his axe. It's a big AoE cooldown. Unfortunately, NYI means not yet implemented, but we'll see where that goes in later builds. Now you have 4 points left here as well, which we're level 62. I would go 1, 2 here, 3 for Demonic Consumption, and then 4 in Demonic Calling. Now, to round this straight out completely, right? Now you can put points maybe over here in like Houndmaster's Gambit for resets and things, or go Felsunder, but I think this build rounds out the AoE pretty well. Now the next build is pretty similar to the Demo AoE build. We're just mostly foregoing Implosion and the cleave aspects of that build and going into more of a pet like Felguard, Imp, Tyrant, Zoo kind of build, right? Starting off in the same way, Dreadstalkers, Demonbolt, Dreadlash, Falcommando, FTS. We're taking whatever this is called, Demonic Strength, sorry, and Vile Fiend here, Born of Blood, and grabbing Grim Inquisitor's Calling. And then past that, it's mostly just like the right side of the tree. Carnivorous Stalkers leading into double Demonic Calling. You have Fel and Steel here, obviously for that big damage amp. FTS, we already mentioned. Felmite, reducing the CDF Fellstorm. Felsunder, which sort of works off of Felmite decently. Grimoire Felguard. Demonic Meteor, which is pretty big for shard gen and things. Followed by Houndmaster's Gambit. Your third dog here. Antora Armaments. Then Tyrant. Double Baleful Invocation trait in Soulbound Tyrant. And Demonic Consumption. Once again, you have 4 points left here. So you could realistically go down and grab double Command Aura, which you probably do, depending on Sims. I'd probably go double Command Aura and then probably look at putting 2 points into Imp Gang Boss, depending on where Sims land. There's a chance that Inner Demons is just better, possibly, but a lot of the other 2-point trades, unless you're going like Doom and things, which would theoretically require 3 for a Kazzak's Final Curse, aren't incredibly impactful. Stolen Power feels pretty underwhelming for a capstone N tier trait. It's a solid ability, but I don't think it's strong enough to be in this row and compete with like Decon and Expendables and things. So I'd probably drop 2 points into Command Aura, and your other options are Horn Nightmare or Inner Demons here. There's a chance, a possibility you could end up just going into Sack Souls with 2 points, Expendables here, and throwing a point into Soul Empower if you wanted. With Hold This for me being more of a what seems like an AoE kind of trait and ability, I'm going to forego that for now. But depending on where it ends up landing, there's a lot of beef for your Felguard in here. Armaments, Fel and Steel. It might even be the choice overall when it comes to single target with this more, well, single target prio-focused Zoo build. All right, shifting gears to more of a Nether portal Hit Lord build that everybody wants to see. This build has some interesting combinations of talents. So once again, I call Dreadstalker, Demonbolt, Dreadlash, Compel Commando, all the normal talents up here, right? Demonic Strength here, Vile Fiend over Soul Strike, and then we forego Shadow's Bite, forego Implosion, Born of Blood, right down to Grim Inquisitor's Dread Calling, and Imp Gang Boss. Now once again, this might end up just being a sim thing compared to this. I'm not sure how this interacts with Demonic Core procs, if it gives you any extra value or not, but I would assume Imp Gang Boss is probably a little more valuable, but we'll see where that goes in Sims, because they both end up leading into Nether Portal. They're both 2 talent points, and that's what we're after right here. So Nether Portal obviously leads into Nether Jewel's Volition, which increases the duration by 10 seconds, which brings it from a 15-second cooldown to a 25-second cooldown, or duration, however you want to word it. And this finally leads into Gul'dan's Ambition. When Nether Portal ends, you summon a Pit Lord that gains power based on how many soul shards were spent, up to 10. Now, this does still have the wording, Portal does, of the one Shadowbolt hand sequencing, which is not the best, but it is what it is. When Nether Portal was active, the demon lasts 10 seconds. Now, currently, this demon is not extendable with Tyrant, and its damage is actually sort of low. It could be improved. It probably will be at some point, but it's very, very cool. So we'll take a look at that in a minute here. The rest of the points I ended up putting 2 in ripped from the portal, your 3rd dog, 2 in Demonic Calling, which is anti-synergistic with Nether Portal in a sense, because like the free shard cost on dogs, but it's probably still worth it overall. Grimoire Felguard, obviously, for your 1 shard spender in Portal and just good in general. Felon Steel, we have Felsunder over here, we have Entoran Armaments here as well, and Tyrant, obviously. Now, once again, we have 4 points available still to this actual tree, because we're 62 on alpha right now. So I would end up going 2 in here for your 5 shards, 1 in Demonic Consumption, and that leaves 1 point left, which you can put in like the expendables if you want. Theoretically, you could go into Soul and Power, or you could put it in Fellmight, because Felsunder, since each time Fellstorm deals damage, it increases the damage the target takes from you and your pets by 2 for 8 seconds, up to 10. You have a lot of pets out with Nether Portal, so theoretically, the more you can Fellstorm, if it lines up with your portal and you have Fellmight, it could actually be a pretty decent damage increase. That'll just be a sim thing in the long run, but this build looks spicy. We've never had the option of playing Portal with Decon, and it brings very large 3-minute damage windows with smaller 1.5-minute windows, which is still a very unique damage profile and a solid one in a lot of settings with Decon. So the opener is pretty similar to what it is on retail now. You work in your portal into it to start. However, you go into a builder spender rotation quickly. It's Shadowbolt hand, because portal is based off the amount of shards. It's not based off the amount of shards spent in hand cast. It's whenever you spend shards. So Shadowbolt hand sequencing is better than 3 Shadowbolts in a hand, because 3 Shadowbolts in a hand is 1 instance of spending shards versus Shadowbolt hand being 2 instances, and you mostly follow. So, all right, so going in, we're going to precast a Demon Bolt. I'm going to forego Decimating Bolt here, chat. It's fine, guys, YouTube, whatever. We'll deal with it later on. It's fine. So, Demon Bolt here, right into another portal. Opening up, there we go, into Grimoire Felguard, summoning a pet, into Vile Fiend here, into dogs, and that Shadowbolt hand. It's so slow. Shadowbolt hand rotation, and we're going to Tyrant afterwards. I'm going to pop Demonic Strength into this. Watch for the Pit Lord. Here he comes. There he is. He jumps in. He's massive. He grunts. He makes noises. And Melee is going to hate us. The portal's still actually active here, which is very interesting. It lasts 10 seconds longer than him currently. And that's due to, I believe, Nurazul's Volition, the talent. And once that thing closes, though, you've resumed the 3-shard Builder Spender spec or version of Demonology, right? Now, I would assume they end up adjusting the Pit Lord a bit based on raw damage and maybe even uptime and things like that. But for being a first iteration of Demonology, this actual like log here will not have Demonic Consumption in it. At 70 you will, and having access to both Decon and Nether Portal could very well give you an exceptionally strong single target window every 3 minutes, and even a smaller but still very good one every 1.5 minutes, because you're still going to have your Demonic Tyrant every 1.5 minutes with your Vile Fiend. Now, the weird part is there's a lot of odd CDs with Demonology. For example, your Vile Fiend's 45 seconds, your Tyrant's 1.5 minutes, your Portal's 3 minutes, your Grimoire's 1.5 minutes, so, or 2 minutes, I'm sorry. So you have that weird, like, you're holding your Grimoire for a minute for every other large Tyrant, but in the end, I mean, it just sort of, it is what it is, right? So we'll do one more Tyrant cycle here. We'll build a bit more here. We're going to have our Vile Fiend in about 10, so we have to delay for that, but it's okay, no problem. I'll cast these dogs here briefly. And This will be a smaller damage window, but you still have your Tyrant with Decon. You're still going to have that large damage profile. And when you have that Nether portal, you're going to have just that ridiculous damage profile. So we'll cast our Vile Fiend here. We got a Soul Conduit Refund, that's fine. Shadowbolt Hand, or Demonbolt Hand, basically. Launch these dogs. And we go into Tyrant, and then Demonic Strength. Now, once again, we don't have Baleful Invocation here, or Demonic Consumption. If we did, we'd have 5 shards here, and he'd be swinging a lot harder. But regardless, you can see the power of this damage profile, being a smaller one every minute and a half, and the large one with Pit Lord every 3 minutes. And the cool thing is, dude, it's a Pit Lord. So this build here is a very unique one, and it is due to an ability that's been a pretty hot topic for the past, ever since Demo's been around. That is Doom. Now, I do think that Doom and Kazzak's Final Curse are actually being like criminally underrated right now. Kazzak's Final Curse with more of a pet-based build, with 3 dogs, with more imps, with Demonic Meteor, with the shard count we can possibly get, could quite possibly be really insane in single target, right? So Doom, it's baseline Doom. Whenever it ticks, it gives you a shard. It does a lot of damage after 17 seconds or whatever. It's Doom. We've had it for a long time. Kazzak's Final Curse was a legendary. It was around in Legion. Doom deals 5% increased damage from each demon, pet, or per each team you have active, basically. You have a lot of demons out. You have 3 dogs. You have your Felguard. You have 3 dogs, typically. You have, let's just say, 6 imps. Let's say 10 pets roughly now, plus maybe your Vile Fiend, your Grimoire. You're looking at anywhere from like 12 to 15, 16-ish pets. That's a pretty big amp. You're looking at, what, 110, 120% more damage? That's pretty wild. Doom actually does a decent amount of damage on its own, and there are windows you can get even more pets out. During your Tyrant, you have a million imps out from extensions, 29, 30 imps. Depending on when that Doom ticks, it could actually hit really, really hard. Even on retail right now, Doom's not even a terrible talent sim-wise, but it's a terrible talent play-wise. Either way, so the build is Dreadstalkers, Demonbolt, Dreadlash, Fell Commando, from the Shadows, Fell Might, Fell Sunder. We go down here to get Born of Blood, we go down to get Grim, Inquisitor's Dreadcalling, and then most of it is off, once again, just more in the right side of the tree for pet empowerments and more pets. You have Demonic Calling, Felon Steel, Grimoire Felguard, Vile Fiend here, Demonic Meteor, double Rip of the Portal, which is a guaranteed 3rd dog, Tyrant, 2 points in Soulbound Tyrant for 5 shards. This is bug, it should be 5 shards. And Demonic Consumption. So the big thing here, for the 10th time, you have 4 more points to play with at max level. I am on alpha. I am level 62. So those 4 points can go in a handful of spots. Now, Inner Demons probably isn't the best choice overall, like on a more widespread kind of look scenario in this tree. But if you're playing Doom, Inner Demons gives you 2 more pets baseline, and it can give you a 3rd pet and a 4th pet that spawns. So it actually might be a pretty solid option depending on, well, where it falls in Sims. So you can put 2 points potentially in Inner Demons. You could throw a point in Torrent Armaments here and grab Soul and Power instead. You can go into Sack Souls here, which is pretty terrible. You can go into Imp Gang Boss here. You can throw a point in, or 2 in Bale Spider's Burning Core. But for the most part, the front runners of this build for the final 4 points are probably realistically Inner Demons, Imp Gang Boss are going like and Torn Armaments into Soul and Power, and a mix of probably either this or this. This build could be very, very strong in single target. I have not played it yet. We're going to do that in a minute here and see where the damage is Doom-wise. But one thing I do wish this build had, and this tree in general had, is Hand of Doom. Hand of Doom was a talent from Legion when this first iteration of Demonology first came out that said any target hit by your Hand of Gul'dan, Doom's applied to them. Whatever Hand of Gul'dan hits, Doom goes on it. That made Doom feel infinitely better when it came to playing it in single target, in AOE, basically everywhere. What would be really cool is to see them work some talent point, maybe in between Kazzak's Final Curse and Doom, Hand of Doom. Like Doom into Hand of Doom, so you can put on more mobs passively. And then if you want to commit even more to that, you can put Kazzak's Final Curse here. If Blizzard wants Doom to be played without people complaining about Doom, just add in Hand of Doom. A problem is solved. Let's take a look at this build in combat. So if you're looking at playing the Doom build, the one that I'm sort of excited about, I don't want to say pretty excited about because I don't rile everybody up, but the one I'm relatively excited about, the Kazzak's Final Curse Doom build, just to see what it does raw damage wise. Difference from other builds here, you're playing Doom obviously, Kazzak's Final Curse. We still, again, do not have the last 4 points in our talents. You probably throw them like in Antoran Armaments going into Soul and Power, or maybe here into like Inner Demons or Imp Gang Boss. It's where it depends what you're looking at, what just ends up simming the highest, but there are still 4 points available here. We do have Decon, which is very nice, and it's going to be pretty similar to what we do on retail. You're going to end up just opening on a Demonbolt whenever the boss is pulled right into a Doom, actually. That's going to be the big difference. You want to get that Doom up pretty much as soon as possible. So Demonbolt, Doom, then we go Grimoire. We're going to go build a shard here, go into a Vile Fiend, build a shard. Same thing, it's fine. Go into a dog set, pop this. We're going to build some more shards here. We got a Soul Conduit Refund, perfect. Go hand, just Tyrant here because I'm a little behind, it's fine. There's 3 shards from our Tyrant. We can go Demonic Strength here, refresh Doom. We can cast some Shadow Bolts here. Probably should cast a Decimating Bolt too, that wouldn't really hurt. And our Doom is ticking. We have pets out. Need to maximize our pets here as well because Doom is going to take in about 8 seconds. We have our Tyrant out. We can build this, One more Shadow Bolt here. Launch this dog set. One more hand before the Doom ticks. What does the Doom tick for? I couldn't actually see, but it looked like a good bit. Reapply the Doom. And this is going to be it for the most part. This is your builder spender spec of Decon with Doom being factored in, doing a lot of extra damage with your pets being out. You're not like having these big Demonbolt min-max windows. You're casting your Vile Fiend once in between Tyrants here because you're not actually, you know, playing 1 minute Wilfred's build. This is going to be it. The big thing is watching your Doom, making sure you're maintaining max uptime, but you can also see that like this build would be infinitely more exciting and fun if Hand of Doom were an actual talent. Not having to micromanage Dooms, worry about uptime and things, forgetting it for a second and missing some pet buffs. If Hand of Doom were a thing, this build would feel infinitely better, right? We have a Tyrant coming around in about 27-ish seconds here, so it should line up pretty well. We'll do one more Tyrant cycle. Should have Demonic Strength for it coming up here too. Just more hand cycles here. And we have a lot of pets out. This Doom should probably hit pretty hard, actually. We do have Doom falling about now, and now we can build some shards. We have 4 Demonic Core proc, which is pretty wild. We'll go into our Vile Fiend here. Shadow Bolt this, go back to 5, cast our dogs. We're going to have Doom fall like mid-Tyrant setup. It's just sort of what it is, but we should indeed get the full extension here regardless. Cast this, go into our Tyrant, we'll Demonic Strength, Doom again, and we should have the full extension on these pets covering this next Doom tick. And you can build a lot of pets here. Cast our Decimating Bolt, launch our dogs here. We have no core proc, which is wild, but it's okay. We can one more hand in here. Watch this Doom tick. Here it comes. It should be right about now, and then pets are expiring. And that's going to be the gist of it. If your next Tyrant's going to be a bigger one with Grimoire in it, you're going to have random Decimating Bolts to weave in and things. It does feel a little busy with Decimating Bolt, but at the same time, I would assume that you can probably work out Decimating Bolt and just it would feel nearly the same as it does on retail, with Doom being your main difference. And the last build that I have to talk about, because there's 4 people in the world that play the build, I'm not being rude, I'm just being honest. It's the Necrolord Decimating Bolt Demonbolt build, which is the highest aiming build in the history of the game, but no one really plays it. Okay, the build's actually pretty cool. It's underrepresented overall when it comes to like retail right now. It's not played for a handful of reasons, but it has indeed made it over to Dragonflight. So same thing here once again for the 10th time. Dreadstalkers, Demonbolt, Fel Commando, FTS. So not like grabbing Grimoire here, at least with this current build. Bell and Steel, Demonic Meteor, but a large shift back to the more left side of the tree here because this is more Demonbolt focus, right? So I haven't really done anything with Decimating Bolt in the other builds. It's just been there. And these final talents here, for the most part, I'm not going to mess with in the videos of like gameplay a whole lot, but Decimating Bolt is actually relevant for this build because it increases Demonbolt damage, right? So Demonbolt into Born of Blood, double Inner Demons, which is interesting, but we have Inner Demons and Sack Souls here. Inner Demons provides more pets, larger Sack Souls damage increase, and we go from there. Demonic Calling here, Demonic Meteor, Carnivorous Stalkers, Tyrant obviously here, going into double Sack Souls, into the Expendables. Then we have Grim here obviously with Power Siphon, which might end up being worthwhile. It sort of depends. I'm really not sure. Like you might just want to throw, actually you probably do just want to throw another point in Ripped from the Portal either way. It does buff Demonbolt. It's not necessarily as strong as it may seem. Might be worthwhile, but either way, what is strong is Shadow's Bite and Bale Spider's Burning Core. This is the legendary, the Necrolord one that's played with Necrolord stuff. It's the one that increases Demonbolt damage whenever you cast Shadow Bolts, and it lasts a long time. You can maintain the 4 stack almost indefinitely without really any kind of real maintenance and attention. We have 2 points in Imp Gang Boss here and 2 points in Rift Through the Portal, and that mostly rounds this build out. Now, for the 10th time, there are indeed 4 points left when you're at max level. So what I would probably do is look at throwing 2 points in Soulbound Tyrant and then 1 in Demonic Consumption here. And you have 1 point left, which you can throw sort of anywhere, depending on what you're looking at. Some decent options could be probably Power Siphon. I'm going to forego it for this video because Well, yeah, but that probably would round the build out pretty well. You could indeed sort of try and justify like playing Vile Fiend. It is another pet, but I mean, I don't know if it's really worth the shard commitment versus just casting, you know, another Hand of Gul'dan or something like that, another shard for another hand. It's probably not worth long term, but you are playing Baleful, so it could be. It'll end up being a sim thing, but what I'm getting at is like the gist of this build is here. If you really wanted to go over into Grimoire and Vile Fiend, you could just go Grimoire, Vile Fiend, and then maybe remove a point from somewhere in this tree. Maybe remove the expendables, right? Go Grimoire, go Vile Fiend here, and with the 4 points, right? Vile Fiend, double Soulbound Tyrant, and then right into Decon. You have a pretty strong build without the expendables that does a lot of, supposedly, Demonbolt damage. Okay, so when it comes to the Demonbolt build, once again, we have 4 points that we'll get at higher levels. We're 62 now, not 70, so we don't have Power Siphon, we don't have the double Baleful Location, Soulbound Tyrant traits for shards, and we don't have Demonic Consumption. Now, when you get those 4 points, once again, you can make a case for going into Power Siphon, maybe grabbing Vile Fiend, and maybe grabbing 2 points here and 1 Baleful instead of Vile Fiend, or grabbing a point somewhere else. That's all sims and things down the line. When we're at 70, I'll make another video looking at the full builds, but for now, we gotta work with what we got. So the big thing here, once again, is Decimating Bolt, Balespire's Burning Core, playing around FTS windows, using Demonbolt procs for just those huge damage amps on those Demon Bolts, and just getting that full value with Sack Souls and things like that. So I don't play this build on retail, but I would assume I have a decent opener in mind. We're gonna open up pre-casting a Demon Bolt, going into a Decimating Bolt after we cast this. So there's the Demon Bolt, Decimating Bolt right here, going into Grimoire Felguard, followed by a dog set. We're going to cast these here. We not get a proc, that's okay, casting our dogs. We're going to build back to 5 shards. We're going to go hand, Shadowbolt hand, watching our stacks here of Balespire's Burning Core. We're at 4. We'll Tyrant now. I'll Demonic Strength. Now at this point, we're just going to build shards until we get Demonic Core procs coming in. Trying to play around FTS. We actually got a Carnivorous Stalker's Rechomp right there, which is great. Procs should be coming in about now, roughly, for these Demon Bolts. Maintaining Balespiders here. There's our dogs. We can launch them again. Cast a hand. Procs should be coming in right about now, give or take, when these dogs expire from this Tyrant. Cast a hand here. There's that. We got stacks here. And launch a bolt. Launch a bolt. And then keep your eye on FTS. And the big thing here is just building and spending around those windows if possible. Maintaining Balespiders. Trying to maintain FTS. We can launch this bolt here because we have Decimating Bolt back again. Launching dogs right here. We can cast his hand and go bolt. Big bolt. Big bolt. And you're really just playing around that. Now, you're not going to have Wilfred's here. This build's going to be like a 1.5-minute Tyrant. You're going to have Baleful later on. But overall, the majority of the damage with this build revolves around Demon Bolts. We're maintaining a 4-stack of Balespiders super easily here with Soul Conduit and things. Launch our dogs again here for more FTS value. Cast these bolts. And we're just swimming in shards, swimming in imps. There's so many things you can dump here. And it's very easy, like I said, to maintain Balespiders. We're just casting Shadow Bolts naturally. You might have to watch it every once in a while, depending how many procs you get coming in. Because at times, you just get so many, you don't cast a Shadow Bolt for 20-ish seconds. But for the most part, when we look at the damage breakdown, which I haven't done yet, but I would assume it looks pretty good, we're probably going to see a lot of just raw Demon Bolt damage. Now, I do want to make a blanket statement by saying that numbers on Alpha are not the important thing right now. The important thing is seeing how toolkits feel, how classes feel, specs feel, and all that, right? Numbers are not important, but at the same time, doing big numbers is pretty cool. So I want to look at, like, the Demon Bolt logs here from that actual poll. Now, once again, this is like the Necrolord Demon Bolt shell, but we're missing Power Siphon, we're missing a couple other abilities that could buff the actual damage of it more. And we do indeed have our 3rd Dreadstalker talent here, which you can see they're doing about 23% of our damage, but Demon Bolt's right here at 21% with an average hit of about 6.4. The average, like the max crit being, let's see, what's the average, like the max crit here? About 10.6k, which is actually a decent bit when it comes to being your filler spell on Alpha right now at level 62. Wild Imps being 14.3, Shadowbolt and MAS being down here. Now, the big thing also with this build I want to mention is that when you're comparing it to the other builds we're going to look at in a minute here, we do not have Demonic Consumption with this build. Decon is still very powerful. It's good. It's where you want to be. And when you get that, the power behind Decimating Bolt and everything else is very good, but that unlocks even more power for this build. So you can see that the build still is there. It's doing a good bit of damage. And if I min-max this build a bit more, maybe play with it a bit more, chances are pretty decent. I can probably get Demon Bolt ahead of Called Dreadstalkers, but the gist of that build is there, and at 70, when you have Power Siphon and the other large abilities, that PvP one-shot build, that huge Demon Bolt spamming build you like in PvP or PvE, it's still there. So when it comes to the Pit Lord Nether Portal pull, once again, similar to the Demon Bolt one, we do not have demonic consumption here. It did about 4.5k DPS comparatively to about 5k from the Demonbolt build, but we do not have demonic consumption for either of these builds. Now, if you're looking for the actual Pit Lord damage, yeah, you gotta look pretty hard. It doesn't say Pit Lord, it's right here at 1.53. So people are gonna say in the comment section, oh, the Pit Lord sucks, it doesn't do anything. It actually does sort of not do a whole lot. Apparently it missed. I don't even know what this is. Either way, chances are pretty high they probably buff the Pit Lord. Its actual damage amp might not be working based off shard spent. There's no extension with your Tyrant now currently, and it's a bit buggy. It's where it spawns in the portal restoration as well. So I'm not too concerned with it. It's a Pit Lord. It's a capstone talent. That's the thing. It's one of your final rows. You get to spend 4 points to get to it. Chances are exceptionally high it gets buffed by a large amount. It's just there right now in its initial form to show what it does, how it looks, and hey, it looks pretty awesome. Besides that, you can see the actual portal breakdown here from Wrathguards, Darkhounds, Urzwuls, Illidari Slayers, Pursuits. These are all the portal demons from Nether Portal, right? Dreadstalker still being about 22%, which is large from your 3-piece. Wild Imps, Demon Bolts, Vile Fiend being a part of like your main damage here. You can even see comparing the Demonbolt damage in this build, about 9% compared to the Demonbolt build being 21%. You can see the big difference here in damage profile. Like Necrolord has that big Demonbolt dump window. Pit Lord has about, well, you know, every 3 minutes, semi-decent damage. Buffs will come, hopefully. Now the big thing, keep in mind the damage from this actual like hole or whatever is about 4.5k. This is about 4.9, a bit shorter by about 20 seconds. The big thing though is that once again, neither of these had demonic consumption. This one does have demonic consumption, and it's like it rivals the longest one we had here with Nether Portal. Demonic consumption's ahead by about 1000 DPS from Nether Portal non-decon build, and by about 500 from the Demonbolt non-decon build. Not surprising. So going into this, as you can see, Dreadstalker's being a good bit here. Summon Demonic Tyrant being about 16% of our damage. Comparatively to the Nether Portal build, it is way down here at 4.26%. The Demonbolt build, it is way down here at 2.1%. So now we didn't double Tyrant with this build. It'd be a little higher, obviously. But the big thing, you can see like how it is in retail right now. Demonic consumption is still incredibly strong. And when you can implement demonic consumption in both this Nether Portal build and this Demonbolt build here, it's going to be very powerful. Our burst here hit, what, I guess about 20k peak, give or take right there. We had some peaks and valleys here, sort of, I guess, a little bit with another Portal build and things, but it will be even stronger when you can implement both and have just that huge 3-minute profile with Nether Portal and that smaller, but still good one with Decon in between at every minute and a half. So this build's solid. It seems fine. Oh, by the way, this build here is also the Doom build. Remember that Doom Kazzak's Final Curse thing? Yeah, Doom sucks. I actually ran the math on it. I believe Kazzak's Final Curse, the talent, is actually bugged. I don't think it's working. Doom was hitting for like 3.6k by itself with no pets out. It's hitting for like 3.8k with like 5 pets out. 3.8k should be like, what? I mean, 5 pets is like a 25% damage amp, and 200 damage is not 25% of 3.6k. So it might be like 1% per, I don't know. It's probably buggy. It should theoretically do a lot more damage than it's doing. It probably should be somewhere, I would hope and assume, like in this general vicinity, if not higher. But we'll see where it goes. I think the talent is still pretty strong, and unless my Florida math is wrong, which it could be, but it's basic Florida math, the ability is probably bugged. But the potential is it's certainly there. Doom being 3.6% damage overall in this actual like sim here, I guess iteration parse, whatever you want to call it, log, is tragic. An average cast of 4.7, and we have multiple Dooms rolling during Tyrants, like right here, right here, right here. Something is bugged. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope the video was exciting and you guys got to see a little bit of what initial Demonology looks like in Dragonflight in the very first build of Warlock talents. Now, I know some things are a little bugged. I actually found some bugs and talents I had no idea were working incorrectly in this actual video's filming. So hopefully next week we get some changes, some fixes. I know that Hold This For Me is not implemented for the pet side of Demonology, so I sort of didn't put that in the video. Hopefully next week gets fixed, implemented, and we can, you know, go from there. But it's cool seeing the Necrolord Demonbolt build be mixed into also having like the dog build, also having baleful builds, having Nether Portal builds. There's like 5 or 6 different builds of Demonology that you can play, and they're all like good in their own settings. But the real question is going to be, What is the best in single target rating? Is it Necrolord Demonbolt? Is it the Nether Portal build with the Pit Lord? Is it Decon? Is it the Pet build with Decon? Some weird Doom build? That's 5 builds right there. Out of all 3 Warlock trees, I think Demonology is pretty good, like a solid 8. Destro is probably a little better, maybe. AF might need some work. We'll get the Destro and Demo over the next few days. So if you guys want to see those videos, be sure to check back in the next couple days, I guess, and hit the sub button if you want. That'll notify you for it. Great transition. Yeah, with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Any questions you have, drop them down below in the comment section. I will be sure to get back to you. If anything about like any build you might have seen here, or if I didn't mess with a certain build that you want to see, drop it under below as well, and I'll be sure to get back to you. I also want to give one huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys a million times for all the support on Patreon. Really, truly appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, it should be a link up here as well as down in the video description below. Like I said, I should have the next spec video coming out within the next 24 to 48 hours. I'm leaning towards doing Destro next because AF is, if you think Demo's bugged, AF is really bugged. Also in a very awkward spot as far as the left side of the tree goes. Maybe that means I should make the video first, but once again, it's the first iteration of Warlock talents, and I sort of expected it. So overall, Lock talents, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Probably one of the better classes out there. Maybe the best for talents. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.